Yeah. Yeah, and other companies are trying to make COVID vaccines using some of the current technology and the current techniques we already have as well. And so they're kind of covering a lot of different bases. And for some reason, this one brand new approach just it just bothers me. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's we don't know for sure it's going to be FDA approved, but it would likely will be, because they're going to, all they have to do is prove that it generates antibodies. And once they do that, and if, nothing terrible shows up in the initial safety testing, boom, it's got emergency approval and they're going to go forward with it. And, our government's not going to, they spent $1.5 billion to buy 100 million doses of this vaccine already. So the company's already making the vaccine and it's not even approved yet. And our government's not going to want to waste all that money and lose that opportunity to try to see if this vaccine will reduce COVID. And I don't know, it's scary.
Well, I think anytime you're rushing anything, it's a bad idea.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's when people cut corners, and that's when mistakes are made, and that's also when secrets are kept.
Yeah.
And we see this kind of stuff show up down the line.
Yeah. Yeah.
That because they had to get it out, because they were required, because they were being pushed by their supervisors, people lie, they alter and manipulate data to make it look like it's going to be effective enough and safe enough. And the only way we find this out is after the fact, during discovery, so to speak, once there's been some serious damage.
Right. And that's interesting how you put that, because and another thing I wanted to talk about on this episode, this is kind of just like a couple sort of random things about COVID vaccine episode, so to speak. One was that, I just wanted to give everyone kind of a basic understanding of this new Moderna vaccine. Am I saying that right? Moderna? I think so. Vaccine technology. The other thing was a friend of mine, a doctor friend of mine, I forget even where he works. He works somewhere where he's part of the HHS system, Health and Human Services. That's our government organization that sort of helps oversee the CDC and oversees, all things, regarding health nationwide. So Health and Human Services. So he's part of a group of doctors who get emails routinely as being, people working with HHS. And I don't know, there's like a couple 100,000 people that, that get these emails nationwide, I think. And he shared with me this email because it was very shocking to him. And when I read it, on the surface, it's not that shocking. But I think when you really start to digest it and look at the tone of it and the purpose of it, what you just said kind of made me really, really realize even more so there could be, I think, some potentially nefarious issues behind this rush of the vaccine. So this email is basically about Operation Warp Speed. If you don't know what that is, it's basically the rush to develop vaccines and medications and diagnostic tools for COVID. And it's our federal government's attempt to try to help bring this pandemic to an end. So it is sent from the head of HHS, or on behalf of the head. I'm sure he didn't write it himself, but one of his employees did and sent it on his behalf. And it's basically about their progress on Operation Warp Speed. And it says, and I want to read a little bit at a time and then we can talk about it, but it's, "Dear colleagues, as we continue to make progress in our collective battle against COVID-19, I want to provide an update this week on progress toward life-saving therapeutics and vaccines, which is proceeding at a record-breaking pace. All the measures we have taken as a country to slow the spread of the virus, informed and promoted by the work of our colleagues, have bought us vital time to expand the tools we have." And that's benign. I mean, that's just sort of like a friendly little introduction.
You know what's funny about the record-breaking thing? It's
Yeah,
there are so many things you want to break records. Athletes, ideas, inventors. There are so many things that it would be great to be the first one to do. But to break a record in creating something experimental in medicine
Yes.
that has inherent side effects, that is not something you want to break records for.
Right.
That is something you need the slow and steady to win the race kind of approach. And it's funny because we always want to win. We're such competitors that we think of record breaking, and these